Doing? I am at the gym, as you can see, and just about finishing up a workout, but this is kind of an experiment. I don't think I've ever done a live at the gym here where I usually work out, and so it's kind of a signal test, and if somebody comes in, I'm not gonna keep talking to my phone, so I'll probably just leave because I'm almost done with the workout, so I can continue, but I've been thinking the last week or so, I've been thinking more about end times and everything that's playing out. And hi, Rita. And of course, that topic comes up from time to time with everything that's happening. But I don't know, maybe it's just because I've been stepping out more and giving in less and less to fear when it comes to speaking out. But I'm seeing a lot more of this going on in different places than what, I don't know. I mean, you could say since 2020, we've really been seeing it, but it's got a little bit different flavor right now. You know what I mean? There's lots of great things happening, but we're seeing, like this community here, we're seeing all of us kind of gather around each other, and we're like-minded, and we're having fun watching the Elvis story unfold, and George and everything else. But yeah, we're getting really strong over here, and there's more people that are kind of seeing what's really happening. But then at the same time, we're seeing the opposing side that just despises God's truth, God's honest truth, right? And by the way, I love how George Magazine just came out with, the new magazine that has the firmament on the bottom, and it obviously talks about the firmament. And Gene is already putting out some tidbits about it. Actually, I think I just shared his newest video with you all. And just so you know, this channel is probably the best extension of George Magazine on YouTube because George and company were having some issues with this place, if you know what I mean. And I don't know how long ago that was, but then they they focused more on Facebook and another one that I'm not going to mention, which is great. So they kind of found their home, what has been working for them. But I don't know, maybe the different strategy I have, or I don't know, maybe just because George is who they are, we've been having success here in sort of helping George and Gene, George Magazine and Gene, share their message. So I'm going to keep doing it. We're going to keep sharing what's going on, and I'm going to keep recommending to you, just because I love George Magazine, that you get their cheapest subscription. I mean, I don't know, it's like 20 bucks or something. I forget. But all right, I forget what the going price is right now. But that's not that much a month for most of you. I mean, if you got the money, you could get the collector's edition, which is then more like $200 a month. But yeah, you're going to get info from there that is going to be like, you're not going to regret it for sure. So Rita, my song, Gene's heard a couple songs on our channel here, and he's actually a fan of the channel, and I'm going to share a video of that, sometime in the next week or so. That's one of my favorite videos to share with you guys from the week. It's a great endorsement. It really is. But he did love the George Live 2025 song. I'm not sure if that's the one you're talking about or a different one. But yeah, back on the subject, and excuse me while I work out a little while we talk. And I'm not doing this to look awesome, by the way. I'm just trying to get back into shape a little bit, and I'm doing a little bit more before anybody else comes in here, and then I'm not going to keep talking to my phone because that's just weird. especially on live. But anyway, back to the topic. Yeah, it really does feel like end times are building and building. And I know you all see that and recognize it, but like I said, 2020 was very interesting. You all know why, and then how families and friends and whatnot started, and jobs and schools, we started seeing all of that. But now that those years have passed, we're like kind of in the next stage where it's like, okay, we went through that. We had people butting heads and whatnot. It kind of died down. Some people came over to our side, if you want to call it God's side, really. And then some just adamantly refused, no matter what, and just, covered their eyes and ears, didn't want to hear it. And so now we're almost like into the next level of butting heads, right? Because the side that's for God is stronger, more confident, maybe, speaking out more, all those things. And then the other side is kind of the same in a bad way. And just really, I just see it as emotional, just vitriolic. And so I just put out a post on Facebook, yeah, that's a better name for it, Facebook, and just said, geez, I forget already. But the point of it was that, we're in the end times, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. And that's just biblical. That's not some amazing prediction from me. It's just, that's what's supposed to happen, and it is happening. So Gene had Jack Willard for an interview. Maybe he could interview me. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, as far as all that stuff goes, I was delighted that Gene loved the channel and the content, because that really speaks volumes too. If you think about it, this whole debate, questioning, digging we've had about Pastor Bob, EP, what's really happening in the world and whatnot. If somebody like Gene Ho, editor-in-chief of George Magazine, likes the content that we're doing here, for me, it's almost like I don't need to ask him anything. Like, I'm not gonna say, hey, can you please give me some breadcrumbs, Gene? I know you know more than what you're telling us. Can you just tell me? I won't even say where I heard it or anything. I'm not even gonna bother doing that, because just the fact that he loves what we're doing and what we're sharing, and we're being like sort of an extension of their voice, that's all I need to know. That is confirmation. Bam. So we already know it's just a waiting game. Everything that's playing out, we have to wait. And but those who are paying attention and who are discerning the truth, you're going to know, we do know a lot better what's going on than those who are just like I said, I don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to see it. I don't care how much common sense and logic, how true it sounds. I'm not going to listen to it. That's how we're seeing a lot of that right now. And it's kind of scary at times too, especially when it's people that we know and love, and we're just trying to help, really. But you can't help people by just lying to them or telling them what they want to hear. Real love, unconditional love, is to put yourself out there and forget ego, forget fear, all those things that hold you back. So I'm encouraging you. I want us to be a community of strong leaders who we say what we believe, we do what we say, believe, and not worry about what they're going to say about us or anything like that. All those worries that come into our head, because that's also the enemy. The main things we got to go up against, the spiritual battles, is the fear and the worries, anxiety. But I can tell you from experience, most of that you can avoid by just changing your mindset. And as soon as it comes in there, do something to get it out there. For some of you, it's talking about it. Once in a while, it's like that for me, but usually for me, it's just to do something, be active, work out. That's what I'm doing now. Or work on a project, something that takes so much of my focus that I just really I can't think about that anymore. So, who else here? Gloria, Rita, I already said hello. Alice, our Japanese friend, I know that's you. I'm gonna need to learn Japanese just so I can read your comments on live. So yeah, let me just try to finish up. And it's kind of hard to talk while working out, but this is not cardio, so it's not too bad. What was I talking about? So yeah, end times, we really are at another level, and yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. Hi, Janet, K, N-A-N-A, I remember you. Hello. So how was my signal, everybody? I think this is the first time I've ever done a live on YouTube from the gym. I did on another app a few years ago, but Rita said she's learning to love and light in Jesus. He's my Savior. Amen. Oh yeah, good luck in the studio with the gospel song you wrote. That's awesome. Signal is good? Awesome. They say we're moving from 3D to 5D. Is that what you meant, Janet? Yeah, I've heard that phrase too a lot in certain circles. I got mixed emotions about the whole, there's a whole lot of new agey kind of talk in communities like ours. And I'm really careful to what I sort of buy into or believe and what I'm going to pass on to you guys, because I believe the Bible is true. I believe the book of Revelation is true. And so if you believe that, then what I was talking about at the start here was basically that, yes, I think all kinds of great things are going to continue happening until Jesus returns. However, there's a whole lot of people that aren't going to go that direction. And it's sad, it's unfortunate. We don't want that to happen. We would love everybody to just go into this great next 10,000 years and everything is amazing. But that's not what the Bible says. And so, yeah, I guess when I talk about it, I try to balance my speech too and how I talk about it too. But yeah, we don't want new age stuff. So no matter how much I get excited about things and talk to you about this and that, and yeah, I think Bob is EP, and maybe a whole bunch of famous people are gonna, maybe 2027, who knows, they're all gonna come out and they're gonna be free from any prosecutions and anything like that. And it's just like, wow, all these cool things are happening. Even if that all happens, even let's say 77% of the things that we hope is going to happen, we're still going to have all those other people that are just against us, against the change. And like I was saying, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because think about it, all of those people haven't been along for this ride all these years that we've been wakey. So you can imagine if things kind of happened overnight, which that's not how things are going, but if we kind of get to a point where something major happens, which I do believe, and there's sort of a quick shift, those people who have been asleep at the wheel, essentially, all these years, they're going to have a tough time. And again, I don't know if this is really a prediction so much as this is just the way things were headed. Lots of those people are just going to give up. And you know what I mean by that. It's not good. But it's just, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. So we as believers should be prepared for those kinds of things. And it's not fun to think about, but that's just how my brain works. I'm very positive. I'm way more positive than I am negative about things. But when it comes to reality, things that I see coming one way or another at some point, yes, it's better, it's healthier to think about it a little bit and to be prepared for it. So actually, that's one of the reasons I started doing the YouTube sort of vlogs and stuff too. This is before Pastor Bob and Elvis and all that stuff that we started sharing. It was just to talk about all of these things. And like I was just saying, I think yesterday, it was failing because I was trying to use too much terminology. And so it kind of went nowhere. And then just the way God worked it out, I realized, hey, you know what? I can use Pastor Bob, Gene Ho, and George Magazine as kind of the centerpiece. And then we can build this community. And then we still have all the other topics we can talk about. But we're going to do it strategically. So in a nutshell, that's how all of this came together and how it all happened. And thank you, Rita. Hold that thought. Yeah, I could say if there's anything that changed since the George Live trip, it was that all of us have been reconfirmed, that we've been asking the right questions, we've had the right motives, and it's just as simple as that. We're doing it for the right reasons, despite it being hard and long and drawn out and everything. And all I can say is I strongly recommend that if you have the opportunity to go to Pastor Bob's church, go to the George Live event next year, or whatever event they have next, try to go. You will not regret the ticket price and the travel like I thought I was going to. Because it did cost a pretty penny for us to go, but no regrets. And the reason why is because it's really great having this online community like this and all of us like-minded coming together. But when you get to meet each other in person, it's just different. So I decided that even if I adjusted how we talk about these things, how we talk about Pastor Bob, because I want it to be respectful to everybody. Not only am I not going to stop doing what I've been doing, we're not going to stop posting videos, all these discussions, but like I said, I'm prepared to take another step forward. And on any app that I'm using, I'm going to use it to the full force that I possibly can. And already, what have I experienced? Magically, what do you know, spiritual battles. I have people coming up against me that just looked the other way pretty much since 2020, even though I've been saying pretty much the same messages this whole time. Why now? Why right after George Live and I got that boost? Why am I now experiencing this? Well, it's because the enemy knows when you make a decision like that. And yeah, Rita, the enemy knows when you're on the right track. And the enemy doesn't care when you just think about it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna live a godly life. I'm going to speak out a little more. You can think that all day. Enemy don't care. That's fine. Keep it in your head, little imaginary world. The moment you make that decision and you're like, I'm done with the fear, and you really believe it and you know that God's gonna have your back, well, get ready for somebody to start coming back at you. It will happen. And so that's more or less what I want to talk about in this video. I waited till the end of my workout so I wouldn't be breathing hard the whole time. So I think I'm about done, but well, I guess I better wrap it up here because once I lose the Wi-Fi, it's going to be freezing up. Thank you, NA. So I do appreciate you all, and I try to say that often because I mean it, but yeah, like I was saying, I strongly encourage you, especially the introverts like me, if you have the opportunity, you may not look forward to it at first, but find a way to get together with some of these great like-minded people in our community, in the George Magazine community, Pastor Bob Household of Faith community, all great people, all like-minded. A lot of us have struggled the last several years when our churches have failed us, our church leaderships have failed us. That was one of the breaking points for me back around, 2020. And it wasn't just the C thing, had a big part of it, but as we know, it's just a fact. Our church leaderships, many of them, not all of them, have truly failed us. And they focused more on keeping people and making everybody happy and warm and fuzzy instead of saying the cold, hard truth. So I would admit, for me, maybe that's part of the reason it was even harder to go on a big trip and go do that. I mean, on top of cancer and chemo and still not being 100%, but just I got used to having great like-minded communities of people online that I could talk to, share with, encourage each other. And unfortunately, it's just, you don't always get that at church because, like I said, even the leadership itself, they're just wrong. They're cherry picking what to preach about and how to make it mean what they want it to mean every given week. And it's just tough. And but we should all find and have a good local church that we can learn and be discipled from. And they're out there. I don't mean to make it all sound negative. It's just, we know that a lot of churches have been the lukewarm churches, again, that the book of Revelation talks about. And it's not going to change. That's how it is. So, but the good news is, if you're discerning, you're aware of it, you can show up to one service at a new church and be like, okay, yeah, they're right on the money. Or, not sure. Maybe I need to come back another week and then decide. And see, that's tough for me too, because I've never been the kind of person to shop around for churches. Some people do that. I think that's more the extroverted kind of person that's like, hey, let's go to a different church every week, and then eventually we'll pick one. That is not fun for me at all. So, but once again, those are kind of some of the things that the enemy uses against each of us in his own ways to inhibit us from just staying close to God. So, well, I'm glad the signal's good. I can't always I'm going to do one more set. I can't always do the live at the gym because, like I said before, if anybody else is here, I'm not going to talk to my phone. Not that you guys are my phone, but you know what I mean. I don't want to be the crazy one live streaming on my phone. So, but now that I know it's good, then it's an option. So, the gym. It's a perfect size gym. Not that big, but not small. Hold fast to Jesus. That could be a song. Rita? Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, certain people and events will always get to us, but like I was saying, it's one thing for it to get to you, and then it's another thing to dwell on it and just let it continue. So I was kind of feeling that way today, and what did I do? I went to the gym, and there's another video that I wanted to work on, so I'm probably going to do that tonight, even though typically on Sunday I try to kind of take it easy and get away from work, but for me, that's just, I know it works to get me back on track. So, hi, Kay. Okay, I would love to hear your Bob Joyce story. Okay, while I'm thinking of it, everybody, if you have a question or something you really want to send to me, and because it's so difficult with the YouTube comments, if you go into almost all of my video descriptions, there is a link for PayHip. I think that's the beginning of the link for PayHip for anyone who's interested in getting lessons from me. This is like music or music production kind of stuff. But you can use that to send me a question. It doesn't cost anything. It should be just a click or two away. But when you go to that website, I forget the next click, but you can contact me, basically. And that's going to be the best way for the immediate future to get a hold of me so I can get back to you, because as you guys know, there's lots of comments. Most of the time, I'll just reply once if I can, and then a lot of times I'm not going to get you a second comment. So I'm sorry if you have something important to say in the second comment, but it's just hard to keep up with. So everybody keep that in mind, and you, Kay, especially. I love hearing everybody's stories about Pastor Bob and the church because, well, I'm sure it's going to sound very similar to my own experience and just how I've felt and whatnot, but everybody has a unique experience too, so. Thanks, Jackie. I'm glad you made it today too. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. That was my 30 minutes, which I think we covered a lot. You have a special gift for Pastor Bob, says Rita. You wanted to give it to him personally? Yeah, that would be nice. I'm sure he would appreciate it. Yeah, I've had some experiences with the regular mail just in the last year. I think next time I'm going to try FedEx. It happens, but sometimes the mail can be not perfect. So, okay, Gloria, thank you. So I will see you all again soon. And I don't know if I'm going to do my usual kind of nightly live, the night shifts here in a couple hours. I might not. I do got to take Cassie dog out for the walk like usual, but as you guys know, I'm not very good at scheduling lives because, yeah, I'm just going with the flow all the time. But make sure you're subscribed with the bell on and all notifications if you want to get future lives, because thank you, Rita. That's very nice of you. What was I saying? Yeah, just make sure you got the notifications turned on, because most of the time it's probably just going to be like a 5-minute warning or no warning, and I'm just going to start it. And that's just how it normally rolls. But of course, you can watch the live after too, and it'll be on the channel. So remember what I said. If you have any urgent questions or something that you really want me to see, go to the PayHip link in my video descriptions and contact me through there, and that's going to be your best bet. Otherwise, you can comment like always on YouTube, and I'll do my best, but I can't promise that I'll get back to you. So, okay, I will see you all soon. Thanks for the support. Thank you again, Rita. You're amazing, awesome, and I really appreciate it. And Elaine, too, just gave a gift. Thank you very much, Elaine. You're awesome, too. And you're all awesome. And our community is growing, and they will not stop us. It's not going to happen. So I'll see you all again soon. Thanks, and God bless.